So I had a call today with a co-sleeping and breastfeeding mama, and we just talked about, some different things about this that I figured I would share with you. So basically, one thing is that basically we have some different options when it comes to making changes to sleep. We can take a child that is used to co-sleeping and breastfeeding and always falling asleep on the breast, and we can put them in a crib, and we can, do a Ferber method, and we can wait and see if they will eventually fall asleep. This is one method that I always tell families that basically you can do this method, it will work, and it will involve a lot of crying. And in order to accomplish the method and complete it, you have to be okay with a very large amount of crying. The way I like to go about, working on the breastfeed to sleep habit and the co-sleeping is to make sure that, one, we pinpoint what is really causing the sleep challenges here. Okay, so many families say to me all the time, well, I'm co-sleeping because we're so tired, because they're waking up so much. And then they also say things like, I don't know, should I just move them to their own room? Should I just do it? And I'm like, but they're in your bed because they're waking up so much, right? So it's not actually about the sleep location at all. It's about how they fall asleep. Okay, so many families that are breastfeeding to sleep, they have two sleep associations. Okay, tell me below if this is you. One is a breastfeed to sleep association. The baby falls asleep on the breast. Okay, the other is a snuggles to sleep association. It's physical contact. If that baby wakes up, they kind of go into the light point in their sleep. They kind of start leaning over, they kind of start, smacking their mom or twirling their mom's hair. Sometimes that's enough for some families that the baby will be kind of like, okay, there's my mom, and they'll go back to sleep. Others are like, no, I need to breastfeed every single time. This is a physical contact sleep association because when they're sleeping, they are also touching and in physical contact with you. So in order to work on these habits, we would actually need to basically do a process of, breastfeed and snuggle until sleepy, but not asleep, placing them into their own independent space in a co-sleeping bed. And that's basically a very good portion of my 3 weeks to better sleep program. For the first 2 weeks, we work on that habit and that habit alone, because that is basically why the little one is waking up so much. They don't know how to fall asleep without the breast, without the snuggles. So we can continue co-sleeping in my 3 weeks to better sleep program. Some families want to end up as a co-sleeping family, but just a co-sleeping family with a baby that doesn't wake up 5 times in the night. And that is totally an option. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And some families would like to no longer be co-sleeping, and that is also fine. So basically we would do the first 2 weeks of the program, work on the breastfeed to sleep habit, work on the, falling asleep in the independent space. Even if it's a co-sleeping bed, that's fine. And then the 3rd week of the program is where I usually recommend putting our child into the dream location. So this could be the crib, this could be their own room, this could be whichever. But usually we do that when our child is starting to be a good sleeper already, because we've really tackled basically the problem and the reason why they're waking up so much. Okay, so yeah, if you're interested in something like that and you want to work on your breastfeed to sleep habits and, have a really great sleeper, at about 6 months of age and above, this is when our goal would be for a baby to start to sleep through the night. So I don't cut out feeds with families. So if I have a 6-month-old baby and above, we just work on keeping the baby more and more awake while feeding, and these babies are reaching their goals. So this is not something I'm making up. People are like, I don't know, I think my baby really needs it for food. Your baby really needs it if they are falling asleep every time. But also, if you have a baby that gets used to taking in large amounts of milk during the night, then in essence, they do need it for food because they're used to it. And the only way to solve it is actually to change how we go about this sleep habit. So if the baby is eyes open and awake on every feed, which is kind of our goal at that 2-week mark, they'll just stop waking up. They'll just stop waking up so much. They'll start to wake up less. And then the next morning, they will take this big feed because they'll be so hungry. We don't need to cut out the feeds. We don't need to do anything rigid or crazy. But we can work on the habits that are really causing the wake-ups. And it's going to change that feeding so that they're not taking in all these calories during the night. Again, many families say we're trying to feed our child more and more during the day in hopes that they'll want to take in less at the night. But to me, this is an opposite issue. They're taking in so much during the night that the next day they're like, well, I don't really need to eat that much. I'm fine. So when we make changes to how our children go about the feeding to sleep, when we work on some of those habits, they will start to sleep through the night. about 6 months of age is kind of that time frame when they can start to sleep through the night. And the next day they'll just wake up hungry, which is what we want. But yeah, we can be co-sleeping families and still have really good sleepers, but we also don't have to be co-sleeping if we don't love it. So send me a DM if you want to book a free sleep strategy call. I still have some times available this week on Thursday. Let's get down to the bottom of it, and you could have a really great sleeper 3 weeks from now.